there is a portion of people that do not like tech cards such as Hyper Galaxy, Eternal Galaxy, Photon Stream. They call these cards way too specific, and I know a lot of people are actually fans of Hyper Galaxy, but before any light was shined on Hyper Galaxy, because the card came out quite a while ago, no one actually ran it. I was curious on why is this, and it seems like a lot of people think the cost is too much. And if you don't know what Hyper Galaxy is, Hyper Galaxy states that you're able to tribute one of your monsters which has 2000 or more attack, which is not Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, and then you're able to target one of your opponent's monsters that is also 2000 or more attack, and then you're able to tribute it. So you don't destroy it, you tribute it. So it does bypass cards that state that they can't be destroyed by card effects. And then after doing that, or at the same time of tributing your opponent's card, you get to special summon one Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard. A lot of people didn't like this card. And bear in mind, I even mean this, people didn't like it when the new support came out. I'm talking Galaxy Photon Dragon, Jumper, and Emperor. People didn't like the card. I guess that could be based off previous experiences. Maybe when the support wasn't out, they didn't like the card. And even when the new support comes out, they didn't really think of the card because it already had a negative connotation to them. They didn't, it didn't flow well. And I do agree, before or prior to the support, Hyper Galaxy or any of these tech cards weren't actually that good. But I think we need to start changing our minds with these tech cards, especially with the new support. Hyper Galaxy, Eternal Galaxy, and Photon Stream, they're all very, I would say they're quite obvious that they're good. So I want to go to one that it isn't good, but it's an option. I just want to say it's an option. It's not good by any means, but this is Numeron Creation. And if you don't know what Numeron Creation, it has, in huge quotation marks, one of the biggest costs, I guess, or requirements, conditions. Its condition is if 3 or more light dragon monsters with 3000 or more original attack are on the field, special summon one number dragon Xyz monster from your extra deck, and then attach this card, yada yada yada. This card is actually playable. People think it's not even remotely playable at all, and I'm obviously going to prove it to you that it's playable. But just first thing, the requirement essentially just says get 3 dragon monsters with 3000 more attack. So just think of getting 3 Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragons on the field, or 2 Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragons plus an Afterglow, or even any of your Xyz monsters plus 2 of these, doesn't really matter. The second thing is that what card can we special summon with this, and the only card is number 38 realistically. Number 90 is not a dragon, so you can't special summon it, but let's get right into it, and I'm going to show you how the card works. So this is a standard hand. It's one of the standard hands along with Soldier and Emperor, Wizard and Jumper, Wizard and Emperor. They're all 4 combo hands, or starting hands. And first, I want to go through the normal way of what we would usually do. So first you would activate Soldier, obviously, and you can kind of see this as a guide or a tutorial. So you get Jumper into the graveyard as soon as possible, and Emperor into the graveyard as soon as possible. So we're going to activate both of these. Yeah. And then you are going to obviously take Trance, Expedition, 100. Those are your 3 spell card trios. Obviously in this case, we want to get 100 because we want to send Emperor to the graveyard as soon as possible. Let's get Wizard. And then this is obviously the second rule. We try get Soldier, Wizard, and Summoner. So we activate 100. Try follow along if possible. I want to see if my lessons actually helped you. Put Emperor to the graveyard, special summon. Then we can normal summon. And then we can activate Wizard. We can get Summoner and then normal summon Summoner. And then from here on out, it's pretty obvious how things are going to go. I'm still going to go a little bit further, but I'm not going to go full combo because I assume everyone knows how to go full combo from here. So we're going to activate Wizard, and then you'd get your Trance. Then you'll turn Summoner, and this, I want you to remember this part. I'm going to activate Summoner, and I'm going to turn, usually 99% of the time, we're turning Soldier from a useless level to a useful level, which is from level 5 to a level 4. right? It's useful because we can go into this card, Galaxy Photon Dragon. Obviously, you can activate Galaxy Photon Dragon's effect, put summon it into the graveyard, I guess. And then you can get Expedition. Expedition will get you Afterglow, etc, etc. You know, you can go into Cypher X. It's easy. I want to show you a slight deviation using Numeron creation. So let's get right into that. All right, so this is with Numeron creation. Remember that previous combo is still full combo. It's standard. The full combo, if you don't know, is Soul Flare, or this full end board, I should say, is Soul Flare, number 90, number 38 with Cypher X protection. Whether that card's on the field or not really doesn't matter, because Cypher X is a lingering effect. Okay, so we're going to activate Soldier, sending Jumper to the graveyard, and this is the same thing. You're going to activate Soldier, you're going to activate Jumper. Let's see, we get 100 this time. Well, not this time, it's the same thing. And then we get Wizard here. You're going to activate 100, sending Emperor. Remember that first rule that I've been stating in all of my lessons. Get Jumper and Emperor into the graveyard as soon as possible. Gonna put it in the graveyard, then special summon itself. You're gonna normal summon, activate Wizard, and then you're gonna get Summoner. That's the second rule. Summoner, Wizard, Soldier, that's the trio. That is the monster trio. Third rule is the spell trio. That is 100, Expedition, and Trance. And yeah, Trance. Gonna activate Summoner, Wizard. Right. Okay, here obviously it's interchangeable. I've stated it many times. Whether you get Expedition or Trance, it really doesn't matter. In this case, I'm gonna advise you to get Trance, but here is where we deviate. If we were theoretically gonna get Expedition for full combo, this time we can get Numeron creation instead. So the third rule, if you run Numeron creation, is instead Trance, Numeron creation, and 100. So we remove Expedition and we replace it with Numeron creation. So in this case, I'm going to get Numeron creation just to show you that this combo is possible. And instead of activating Summoner's effect and turning Soldier from a useless level to a useful level, we're going to turn Emperor, and you're going to see why. So we're going to go into, we still go into Galaxy Photon Dragon, it's still standard stuff. The only difference really is that we grabbed Numeron creation instead of Expedition, and we turn we used Summoner to turn Soldier into a level. Oh, I'm getting confused there. We used Summoner to turn Emperor into a level 4 instead of Soldier. We usually turn that useless level into a useful level. Then you're gonna put Emperor to the graveyard, because it's, I mean, it does matter, but you put Emperor into the graveyard, and we're gonna retrieve our Trance. And the reason why Emperor is in the graveyard, or we need it in the graveyard instead of having it on the field, is so we can activate Trance. We're gonna activate Trance, and this is where we get Afterglow. We go into Afterglow here. And then you're going to use its effect, or Cypher X's Cypher X effect. And then you're going to activate it, send in those two cards to the graveyard. Afterglow is going to trigger, you can special summon. Alright, so you can see right now we have, let's actually, yeah, we can activate this. So you obviously still get your extra deck banishes. No, okay, yes, banish. Just banish the Zeus. So you can see we already have 2 dragon monsters which are above 3000 attack, and it's extremely easy to get through. And a lot of people have been stating, how would you even be able to fulfill this condition? Well, I've just done it right here. Now I can just activate, and we'll go for number 38, and then we'll go for number 90. So this combo is a bit different. Obviously, you have a spell card as material, which doesn't really matter for number 38 because its negation effect doesn't actually detach anything. So it actually redirects attacks to itself, which is the effect that uses the material. So it doesn't really matter that we're having a spell card as material. But there are obviously disadvantages of running Numeral Creation instead of Expedition. So let's get right into that. So let's talk about Numeral Creation. Numeral Creation versus Expedition isn't really a competition. Expedition easily wins. And I could tell you the reason why. One, Numeral Creation, and I'm just going to refer to it as creation from now, saying Numeral Creation is a mouthful. Expedition is involved in a 2-card combo with Wizard and itself, Expedition. Whereas Creation isn't. It can't be part of a 2-card combo. It can, but realistically, you'd need a 1-card combo, and then you'd need to fulfill the conditions of having 3 dragon monsters with 3,000 or more attack, and that is just way too difficult for a 1-card combo. I'd be surprised if Galaxy Eyes ever gets that 1-card combo, but it doesn't seem like we're going to get that anytime soon. So Creation is automatically bad compared to Expedition, but there are some benefits to running both, and I think you can run both, especially if you like the artwork. I think if you like the artwork of a card, you should run it, especially if it's an anime deck like Galaxy Eyes. I think you should tailor your deck towards yourself. For example, if Dark Matter was unbanned, I would run it, simply because I like the artwork. It's my favorite artwork across Yu-Gi-Oh, or my second favorite artwork, and I would just run it even though it's incompatible. It's a dark attribute. I would just run it in my deck. I would sacrifice 1 extra deck slot just to have Dark Matter, or I would have it, if I'm playing in locals, I would have it as my field center or something. If you like the artwork of a card, you should run it. Now, I know that's more of a psychological aspect of deck building, I guess. Have your favorite cards so it makes you feel better and you win more games because you have a positive mindset, etc. But there are other benefits to running Creation alongside with Expedition. I don't think there are any benefits from running Creation by itself. I'm pretty sure there's only downsides, but if you run Expedition and Creation instead of 2 expeditions, you can potentially use both of them within the same turn, just like, let's say Numeral Creation is your Hyper Galaxy. If you already have Expedition in your hand, or in your starting hand, you can search Numeral Creation instead. You could potentially go for a play like C62. Now, is C62 relevant as a monster on your first turn? Not really. It doesn't do much. It's just more of a wall there, so your opponent can't OTK you on their turn or on the second turn. Although that's not likely, it's still a benefit regardless. So you can run Numeral Creation as a tech card. It would take up your tech card slot. That is, it would be competing with Hyper Galaxy, Eternal Galaxy, and Photon Stream. And speaking of those cards, I actually want to get onto those because they're in a similar situation to Numeral Creation. So a lot of people have disliked these tech cards, Hyper Galaxy, Eternal, and Photon Stream. And especially with Photon Stream, it seems like it's been power crept by Hyper Galaxy in a way. And I completely disagree with that. Let me try justify Hyper Galaxy first. Hyper Galaxy is such a good card. It tributes one of your monsters, which you saw previously in our 2-card combo, which involved Soldier and Jumper, that we actually had an extra card on the field, which was Cypher X. Cypher X was a 2,000 plus attack monster, which is the condition Hyper Galaxy requires. But people have a counter to this argument, which is sometimes you're not able to bring out Cypher X onto the field. You're only able to bring out Soul Flare plus number 90 plus number 38 without the Cypher X being on the field, right? Maybe you had to use it as material or link material for your Soul Flare, right? Because it has a lingering effect, it is a card that can be removed from the field and you wouldn't really care much of, right? And I would agree. I'd say, yeah, that is a concern if it was a concern because Soul Flare exists. You can use Soul Flare's effect first and then you can use Hyper Galaxy effect, right? You'd obviously activate Hyper Galaxy tributing the Soul Flare because you've already used its effect. And its effect, or Soul Flare's effect, is much more broad because it doesn't have that 2,000 attack restriction. It only requires it to be special summoned, right? and most cards that are 2000 or more attack are going to be special summoned regardless. The second thing I actually want to talk about is Photon Stream. And Photon Stream, if you don't know what it says if you control a Galaxy-Eyes monster, target one card on the field, banish that target. You can only activate this card during your turn unless you control Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon, which is super easy. It's super easy to execute. People say it's power crept by Hyper Galaxy because one, Hyper Galaxy obviously does the same thing, even though it doesn't. It tributes a card, which has to be a monster card, whereas Photon Stream can banish a card, meaning Hyper Galaxy still triggers effects that state that if it gets sent to the graveyard, then obviously do something. And Photon Stream doesn't allow that to occur. Both bypass card effects that prevent the card from being destroyed, so that's also really good. And then people obviously say that Hyper Galaxy has the benefit of special summoning Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard once you use it, which can trigger 100, giving you an extra deck banish. The problem is usually our combos already do that for us. When we do our combos, let's say Soldier and Jumper, you activate all those cards, you get your combo, your end board tends to be resulting in you special summoning a Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon already. That's one extra deck banish. And then during your opponent's turn, usually, again, this is usually, you'd have number 90 with a Afterglow, you negate one of your opponent's monster's effects, and then you're able to special summon a Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon, again triggering 100's effect during your opponent's turn, meaning that Hyper Galaxy's effect, or its second effect, to special summon a Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon doesn't really benefit 100 that much because you've already used 100's effect. The second thing is, because we use 100's effect via maybe detaching Afterglow, that directly special summons Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon onto the field, meaning we can use Photon Stream. And a lot of people don't realize that and automatically call the card bad because you need Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon onto the field, and that's impossible to do because most of our end boards, or if not all of our end boards, do not end on a Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon on the field. And you just have to realize that you don't need it on the field right away. You can get it on the field later on. Just like with Hyper Galaxy, you don't need that Cypher X on the field. You just need to make a card available to be tributed, and that's the case with Soul Flare. We just tribute it. The next card I want to talk about is Eternal Galaxy, and a lot of people have complaints about this card. It's a slow card, going second, it's a brick, etc. Which again is valid points, but you have to realize that Eternal Galaxy is there for the realistic nature of Yu-Gi-Oh! If you don't know what I mean, let me explain. The first two cards I talked about, or even the first three cards with numeral creation, those cards essentially are for idealistic situations where you're able to go full combo, your opponent doesn't have any hand traps, they don't have any board breakers at all, you're sending it full and you're going to absolutely destroy your opponent, right? I personally like that playstyle, but a lot of people want to think realistically, which is also fine, and they think about hand traps, consistency, board breakers, and Eternal Galaxy does it all. One, Eternal Galaxy can bypass Dark Ruler no more. A lot of people have been saying, what about if they have Dark Ruler no more? Well, Eternal Galaxy. There you go. If you don't know how it works, obviously your opponent activates Dark Ruler no more. It obviously resolves, and then you just flip Eternal Galaxy, special summon your number 90 over your Galaxy Photon Dragon, and voila, you've got a monster negate at the very least. The same with consistency. If you get ashed, at least you can somehow, which is with the hand you have, and with Galaxy-Eyes it is very possible, get Galaxy Photon Dragon and just set Eternal Galaxy and then go into number 90 the next turn. So it helps for consistency. Even if you're not able to go full combo, this will allow you to go full combo after being Ash, Veiler, the Infinite Permanence, etc. So all of those, it kind of gets solved by Eternal Galaxy. It's much more of a realistic approach to deck building, while it also has its flaws of being a trap card and being a slow card to play. The message of this video was just to say that not all of these cards are terrible. A lot of people think they are absolutely terrible. You should never run any copies of these. And I personally think that you should run one copy of one of these, right? So only one copy out of the four technically creation would be here. but these three are arguably the most popular ones.